Firstly, one should select a good strain through careful inspection. Here one sees the counting of the incoming bees with pollen loads in a given period of time. Inspecting the colony, history sheets are recorded for each colony by recording the colony performance. Here you see a colony of good strength. Such colonies are possible only if they have young, strong, healthy queens which lay eggs well. The best time for queen rearing is the growth period of a colony, which coincides with the flowering of trees. You could see much activity during the flowering season. Inside the hive, eggs, larvae and pupae could be seen like this. This is a drone, a male bee. During growth periods, you could see drones and also honey and pollen stores. For queen rearing, select a nursing colony. One should feed this colony well. The queen of this colony should be removed and put into a queen cage and given to another queenless colony. Now, give this colony a good brood comb with plenty of eggs and young larvae from a selected colony. After 2 or 3 days, you find queen cells like this. This is the pupal stage. Queen cells like these found on the surface of the comb are not suitable. They are called emergency cells. Cut off the selected queen cells with a piece of comb intact in this manner. The queen cells may be introduced like this to the divided queenless colonies or colonies with neat queens from a selected stock. A queen will emerge after a day or 2 from a well-matured queen cell. You could see an emerged queen on the comb. Few days after, it'll mate with drones and start laying eggs and become the mother of the colony. Now let us get to comb management. To obtain maximum return from the honey flow, one should manage the combs well. Management of combs should commence about 1.5 to 2 months before the real honey flow. During the growth period, new combs like this are being built. By comb management, small colonies could be converted to colonies of good strength. This is an active colony. You may find new and old combs like this inside hives. The old combs should be removed. Old combs are normally found on either side of the brood box in a well-managed colony. Removal of these old combs help build new ones and facilitate the queen to lay eggs. The old combs thus removed from the brood box could be reused in the supers for the storing of honey. Remove 2 empty frames from the super chamber. Cut the comb out from the brood frame, leaving a strip of about 2 centimeters intact. Cut the remaining piece of comb into 2 and attach them to the super frames like this. This could be done one by one once a week. Fill the frames with small pieces of comb if available, like this. These completed frames could be supplied to the supers. The brood frame with a small strip of comb should be given to the middle of the brood chamber. The prepared super frames with comb should be placed at the middle of the chamber like this. The super chamber should be completed by repeating the process weekly. To stimulate comb building, feed the colonies. With the growth of the colonies, supers should be supplied after inspection. Adding supers helps the colony to store extra amounts of honey. This shows how honey is being stored in the combs supplied. This is a comb well filled with matured honey. Bees have capped the cells with wax. Those colonies which cannot be strengthened should be united and made strong before the honey flow. The leaves of the trees are withered. The soil is cracked. This is a period of severe drought. The heavy showers, yes, all these periods are not good for bees. A good beekeeper never forgets to feed his bees during this period. The dearth is obvious. The colony does not have any stores. If the colonies are not strengthened by feeding, wax moth attack like this is imminent. With the start of the dearth period, remove all extra empty supers. How can we feed bees during the dearth period? Feeding colonies has to be done during dearth and growth periods. The most convenient method is feeding sugar. Brown and white sugar could be used. When colonies are fed during the dearth period, 100 grams of sugar per week is fed. The total amount of sugar for the whole period comes to 2.5 kilograms. During the growth period, feeding is done to stimulate colonies to build new combs and to increase the population. Little more sugar per feed is used during this period, which is 200 grams per week. The total amount is less and comes to 1.6 kilograms. The total for both the dearth and growth period is only 4.1 kilograms. One has to spend 100 to 125 rupees per colony, which means the cost of a bottle of honey. A colony unfed will yield only 2 bottles, but if fed, could increase the yield up to 5, 10 or even 25 bottles. Now, what are the materials used in feeding? How do we feed them? What time do we feed them? Colonies are fed only in the evening and inside the hive. Never feed colonies outside. Different kinds of utensils could be used to feed colonies. Yogurt cups, plastic mugs. Cheaper material like a coconut shell. Something expensive like this. Or even a tin like this. The big hole in the tin is used to insert the syrup. The cork is used to close the hole. It is kept inverted inside the hive. If a wide-mouthed utensil is used, the bees tend to fall in and die. To avoid this, few dry sticks are placed like this. These help bees to rest and take the feed. Now let us see how the food for the bees is prepared and fed. We need boiled and cooled lukewarm water and sugar. During light dearth, the mixture is made 1:1 proportion. That is 1 part of sugar in 1 part of water mixed well. During heavy dearth, the proportion should be different. 2 parts of sugar to 1 part of water. Leave the prepared feed inside the hive like this. Do not disturb bees when feeding. Feeding should be done late in the evening. Feed 2 or 3 times a week. A tin can is used for feeding. Fill it and place it like this. It is useful to keep records of feeding. If bees are continuously fed throughout dearth, strong colonies are expected, which help in the production of good honey yields during the next flow season. Unity, they say, is strength, and this is good for bees as well. We could obtain better results only if the beekeepers have very strong colonies. Weak ones should be united to make them strong. This is a weak colony. Unite only two weak colonies or a weak one with a strong one. A day before uniting, remove the queen in the weak colony or the unwanted queen. On the following day, late in the evening, unite the colonies. Bring the queenless colony to the site of the queen-right colony. Lay a piece of paper like this, smeared with honey on both sides, and make a few tiny holes like this. Keep the queenless brood chamber on this, thus uniting the two. Remove the top brood chamber after a day or two. This way, strong colonies could be obtained for the honey flow. Here's a good, healthy colony of bees. A good colony always has eggs laid by the queen, 1 egg per cell. If a colony has dark-colored, black workers congregating at the entrance like this, it indicates queenlessness. The bees are not active in a queenless colony. In such a colony, the combs are empty like this, with no eggs, larvae, or pupae. Emergency cells like this could be found on the comb surface. When workers lay eggs, they are laid in clusters, more than 1 egg per cell. A colony without a queen may be corrected by introducing a queen in time. Remove the laying workers' colony about 10 meters away from the original site. Shake off all the bees onto a paper like this. Now, take the box back to the original site. It is better if all the combs in the brood box with laying worker eggs are removed and new combs are given. Once the bees that are removed have returned to the hive at the original site, introduce a queen cell. If this method is not successful after several attempts, unite the bees with the queen-right colony. Comb preservation in beekeeping is of vital importance. A good beekeeper should therefore protect and preserve combs. Combs which are not preserved will be attacked by wax moth larvae. It is very important, therefore, that the super combs after honey extraction and extra brood combs should be preserved for future use. The extracted combs before preservation should be given back to the bees to be cleaned of remaining honey. This is one method of preservation. Mix 1 part of common salt with 10 to 15 parts of water. Soak the combs in the salt solution. Remove excess water from combs. Dry the combs well in the shade like this. Store the dried combs in a polythene bag and be sure that the bag is not damaged. Before using the combs, wash them thoroughly in pure water to remove the salt. Now here's a second method of protecting combs. This is how it's done. Take a small quantity of petrol and a polythene bag. Open the lid of the bottle and keep it inside the bag, and keep the empty combs like this. Be sure that the bottle won't topple. Tie the mouth of the bag well and keep inside the building. When required, take out the combs and allow the combs to stand in the shade for the remaining fumes of petrol to evaporate, and reuse them in the hives. This is the honey flow season. The trees are full of flowers. In rubber, nectar is produced in the young flush. During the flow, the rubber tree is full of fresh young leaves. The bees start collecting pollen and nectar. They are very active. Supplying necessary supers, one could direct the bees to store honey. You could supply supers by observing the weight of the colonies. Inspecting in this manner, one could find out whether honey is stored in supers. In the olden days, people collected honey by hunting bees. They used to burn the bee colonies and squeeze the combs to extract honey. They destroyed the combs in this process, and the amount of honey returned was very little, which was in the region of 1 to 2 bottles. To protect bees and to obtain high yields, bees are kept in scientifically manufactured hives. If bees are managed properly in hives, instead of 2 bottles of honey, one could get between 5 to 25 bottles. To obtain this high yield, one should use an extractor. Now let us see how an extractor is used. Here you see bees actively storing honey. Only well-sealed combs like this should be taken for extraction. Remove the honeycombs like this. Clinging bees could be removed using a feather or a bunch of soft grass or a soft brush. Do not blow by mouth like this. It will contaminate or harm the purity of the product. Do not keep the removed combs open like this in the field. They will attract the bees. Remove them immediately to a room. This is a honey extractor. First, wash all the utensils and equipment and dry them well. To remove the cappings, use a fork or a new clean comb or a sharp knife. The combs are then placed in the extractor like this. Now turn the extractor fast to bring out honey from the cells. To obtain the honey from the other side of the frame, turn the other side of the frame once the honey is extracted on one side. Take out empty frames and place them in a super chamber. Extracted honey is strained and bottled. Use only clean utensils to store and pack honey. Do not use unclean bottles. The empty combs should be placed back for the bees to store honey again. After extraction, wash and clean all the equipment and utensils well.